there, hi class, my name is Brenna from Seattle, and today I'm using the movie to bring you Exercise 1B, How I Stopped Worrying and How to Create Some Dope-Ass Characters. TenHun suggested that we do. I did some brainstorming and pulled together some lists about what my references are, what my likes are, and created some references to kind of pull from when creating my dope-ass characters. So here you can see some things from Hayao Miyazaki, from Haikala, and a whole bunch of different sources. And so, I was thinking, well, what do I ultimately like? And it turns out it is my home country of Bermuda. So Bermuda, in addition to the triangle that folks may be aware of, there's a whole bunch of beautiful and mythical and kind of spiritual things going on. And so I wanted to pull together a background that is worthy of high amounts of mysticism and allure. So what I'm looking to do is create a mystical world that really pulls you in, is really colorful, much like the houses of Bermuda and the culture of Bermuda, and make it fun and make it illuminate some things about Bermuda so you may not be aware of. What does that look like? So what I have developed from that is the idea in this world is that we've got a triple deity that is representative mainly by a red lioness. Red lioness in Bermudian culture is really symbolic because the Bermudian flag coat of arms has a red lion that is holding on to the history of Bermuda, which started with a shipwreck. It would be like really cool to have a deity woman, maybe man, maybe a non-binary person who is wearing a red lioness mask, much in the way that Mononoke did in Princess Mononoke. And so if we're talking about a triple deity, I did like a whole bunch of research into that. It would be kind of cool to represent a seahorse on one side for the sea versus a white peacock, which represents the land and the sky. In Bermuda, there's a really symbolic white peacock that exists in the Bermudian aquarium. I just thought that would be cool. All right, so to give you a sense of the storyline, there's an unnamed deity that protects a lost city, much like the city of Atlantis, submerged off the coast of Bermuda. To travel there means summoning of a sacred moon gate. So represented by this, which is like the size of any sort of like that a typical human would walk under. And the guardians of the deity are the Gambes, led by the red lion Gambe, as well as the incorporation of these things called spirit keys of Hectare. So without the moon gate, without the keys, without interaction with the deity, you're not going to be able to find this lost city. So this is what she looks like. And so I pulled together a lot, not only from Shiva, but also from Hectare and the idea of a trine deity altogether. Here is the lion mask that this deity wears. This symbol in mysticism is representative of Hectare. Or Hectare, I'm probably mispronouncing that. What does her mask look like? Is she kind of like a laid back sort of person, kind of exploring that, is it maybe a skull mask? What does that look like? From there, it's like I kind of figure out like what I wanted for her, which I'll show you in another drawing. And then I was like, okay, I'll move on to the Gambes. So here's some representation of my Gambe dudes and dudettes. You really like this guy? He's like, yeah, I'm ready to party. And I was like, what if Funko had a Gambe? So that's kind of what that looks like. Here's some Gambes in certain positions, like certain body types. And then I wanted to pull in with these two, and I'll show you some more on the next page, of actual Gambe masks. So trying to get into the detail of what that looks like. So don't look at that. We'll continue on with like the last of the masks. And it was a lot of fun. Like here's a whole group of Gambes dancing, and dance for them is a way to mask actual fighting, much like capoeira, other cultures. Yeah, so Gambes are fun. Love drawing Gambes. Here are the spirit keys. So the spirit keys may remind you of something within Hayao Miyazaki's work. These little critters were really fun to do. Really enjoyed the heck out of that. They are wee small. So you imagine like the size of a gombe, you can probably easily rest on a gombe's shoulder. So who knows like in what representation they're going to turn out. Doing a little bit more with the deity, you know, what would it look like, for example, if her mask was on her forehead, and then representing the seahorse as well as the white peacock on either side. Notice like when she's got the mask off, she still has, you know, kind of a Storm from X-Men kind of look about her. So that's pretty exciting. And then I kind of want to incorporate these face tattoos in some fashion. If there's a way to do it through sort of a gold embossing, that would be kind of cool. Our main protagonist in the story is a girl named Marlika, who finds the key on some after-school adventures. She hails from St. David's Primary School in Bermuda. That's near and dear to me, and she's really cool. We're gonna do amazing things with Marlika. And Marlika's friend is Ace, the underwater helper explorer robot. So what Ace does, once they are really exploring off the shore for a school project, they end up accidentally finding these keys. See, Ace, he's like super into this. So that's gonna be really cool. And then from here, today I've been working on, well, what would the fish critters look like? And so I'd like to introduce you to Patty the parrotfish. She was ultra fun to draw. She's got a really great smile. And, you know, I was playing around with some sea cucumbers and, you know, some various fish. I wasn't too much feeling this. Mitch the Mopey, who's this giant sea turtle. Somebody who's like a little bit of a grump. There he is. There's Mitch. Hi, Mitch. And I was like rolling with some really loose representations of coral reef formation. As somebody who isn't terribly comfortable with drawing in pencil or pen and ink, I tend to do watercolor and whatnot. Getting a sense of colors and of depth with pencil is really hard for me. So open any tips that you all may have about that as we're going along. I really like this pufferfish. Have no idea who this guy is going to be. Did some hermit crabby guy. I was thinking maybe one of the lost keys could be like hanging out in the dude's home, you know, either in the skull or like in a seashell or what have you. And then what do we have here? Oh yeah, I messed around with some frogs. Here are some frogs. They're in Bermuda. They're at night, you'll be overwhelmed with the sound of these whistling frogs. And they're super teeny tiny. Like one of them can easily be less than the size of your thumb, if you can imagine that. So really fun to draw. Love doing different profile shots like this. Doing a complete side profile, not too comfortable with, but we'll see, you know, how the whistling frog kind of plays into the whole story. Beginning of, this was actually the first thing that I drew, having to deal with the deity. And it was like, oh man, if she could maybe like rise from part of Bermuda in like some sort of marsh and expose both the air and the land with the peacock, and then the undersea somehow on the other side with the seahorse, that would be so cool. And then lastly, quo fata furunt, whether the fates may carry you, which I'm happy to talk about some other time. But for now, this is what I got. Feeling pretty good about this. I will see you all later.